What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know I'm a little bit late on this, 2 days. I did give myself 2 days, and safe to say this is definitely a lot more on the tail end of that time frame than I was expecting this to be. And here comes the excuse. In college, it's basically getting towards finals. I just took one today on a Sunday, which is a little bit crazy, but it's nice to get it out the way now. But basically, yeah, just been a lot of studying and just stuff like that in general. But that didn't stop WeirdCo from releasing a big update on Friday. It was a rule and game system update from alpha to beta. There are 3 big changes, and this is just kind of like a dev blog that they released for it, just laying out the changes, going into the changes. And so for today's video, just going to kind of go through it with all of you, give my thoughts on it, and yeah, just kind of talk through it with all of you. So obviously titled the Rolling Game System Updates from Alpha to Beta, learn how some of Cyberpunk TCG's core rules and systems are changing between our community alpha and beta releases. And then they have an art of a new card that they revealed on the socials, and they've put it here as well, which looks pretty good to me. When we created and distributed alpha kits for Cyberpunk TCG earlier this year, we did so for several reasons. Naturally, we wanted to share our game with passionate creators and players as early as possible, but our primary goal was to gather pre-launch community feedback and validate a few key game design decisions. We're trying a lot of new things with this game, and while that creates a huge amount of fresh and exciting design space, it also makes this initial testing and validation period crucial. So we wanted to learn from real players ASAP. Thankfully, even pre-launch, an incredible community has risen up behind this game. Thanks to you, our alpha phase was a huge success and provided us with a wealth of valuable insight that largely aligned with our developers' planned tweaks to the rule set, which is a great sign. With the community insight confirming we're headed in the right direction, we've made a handful of small but highly impactful changes to our rules and core game systems. Here are some of the changes you'll see as we transition from the alpha period toward our beta release. So the first big change is changing up their turn structure. I won't be reading word to word the whole thing. If you want to, it's just on the cyberpunktcg.com website, and then obviously you can just see it at the top there. You just go to the blog section right here, and it's the first one. You just click on it, and yeah. But in general, the ready phase is now the start phase. So you'll take the 3 actions there. It's kind of like you can't really do much in the phase, but it's just kind of running you for your actual turn. So first off, you ready your spent units, legends, and eddies, you draw a card, and then you gain a gig from your fixer area. And they say that they learned from the alpha that this was the order players naturally defaulted to, so the structure has been changed to align with what our players find most intuitive, or just kind of aligning with the general consensus. And then the big change is that the play and attack phases have become, oh my goodness. The play and attack phases have been combined into the main phase. So if you've played Lorcana, or you just kind of know how that plays, it is basically now been made to play like that, where your main turn is pretty flowy. During the main phase, players can do any of the following in any order they please. You can sell a card for an eddy once per turn. You can call a legend once per turn. Also, during your opponent's turn, as a reaction to them attacking, you can call a legend. You can play units, gear, and programs, as many as you can with the amount of eddies you have available and cards in your hand. You can activate effects on friendly units and face-up legends, and you can make an attack. You can also make multiple attacks, so you can, let's say you have 2 armored minotaurs and a Royce Don't Call Me Simon, right? You can swing with a Royce Don't Call Me Simon, you can sell a card for an eddy. You can swing with an armored minotaur. You can call a legend, and then you can swing with an armored minotaur, and you can play, let's say, a gear, and then you can pass the turn if you want to. And then, yeah, it's basically just a lot more autonomy over your turn in general, like Lorcana, to put it simply. And then, yeah, they kind of go into more of it, how it gives you just pretty much more freedom and flexibility, and more opportunity to express your skill through powerful and varied sequences of plays. And then there are some, like, a few minor tweaks to attacking and just the changes to attacking in general. After a player declares an attack and chooses the attack's target, their rival has a react window where they can declare blockers, call legend, and play cards or use abilities with the new quick keyword, which they'll provide more detail around in another article next week. So expect something next Friday, or at least a bit of a section on that goes over quick. Probably won't be too big. I expect it just kind of be like a little bit instant, or just kind of like the haste in this game, or the haste equivalent in this game, rather. Yeah, and then the players now attack the rival's gig area when they want to steal a gig, rather than attacking the rival directly. There's no functionally, like any functional change there. It's just kind of a distinction and more like flavor base, I guess, if that makes sense. And then they have like a little simple overview here of the attack phase flows now. So you spend the attacking unit, you declare a target. So let's say you have an armored minotaur up, you'd be tapping it to spend it, resolving any attack effect that happens. Then you would declare a target. So let's say your opponent has a Carrier Dying the Last Rocker Boy that you really want to take out because you don't want to draw your opponent that many more cards. So you declare that as the target. Your rival will have a little window, react window, where they can spend an eddy to flip a legend face up. They can activate card effects or play cards with the quick keyword. So maybe the quick hack will be changed to just quick, or maybe the quick will be kind of part of the quick hack, and just because quick's in there. So just a little unsure. We'll see more about that next week, as they said. And then they can also spend a unit with the blocker keyword to redirect the attack to the blocker instead. And then the attack kind of resolves. So if your unit's blocked, then they'll fight, compare the unit's power, move the defeated unit to the trash, and resolve any defeated effects they have. Or if you're attacking their gig area and there were no blockers, then you will choose a rival gig die and move it to your gig area. And then obviously if your unit is bigger by a power of 10 or 20, then they'll steal more gigs as that power increases. And then there are other changes. The second big one is that the cost to call legend has been reduced from 2 eddies to 1. Basically, it's just that the legends are a big part of their game, and one of the kind of distinguishing factors that they said is, or one of their distinguishing factors of their game that they've clarified. So basically this change is just to make it like a lot easier to spend the resources to flip them, or just to kind of make it easier for more players to flip them earlier on. Because I watched the podcast, and I'll go over a little bit of notes about that later as well, but they were saying that there were like some games where you could just go the whole thing without flipping any legend, and it wasn't like the biggest difference. Basically, this change is just to incentivize you to flip your legends more often. Obviously, you don't have to if you want to, but yeah, the reducing the cost, or as they put it, the required resource investment ensures that legends show up in games more frequently. It's easier to weave flipping a legend into your turn alongside playing other impactful cards, and ultimately makes legends feel more legendary. So that's the skinny on that. And for their third and final big change, The win condition has changed, or been changed rather, from 6 gig dice to 7, which, funny, whatever, but one of the main things they wanted to keep a close eye on throughout alpha testing was the average length of the game, or just a game. And while they were broadly very happy with the pacing they saw, they found that the fastest games were faster than they wanted them to be. So they upped the gig dice that you need to 7, which will now give the game a floor or a minimum of 8 total turns. So 4 for you, 4 for your opponent. Yeah, basically it's gonna make the average game go longer, give a lot more more expensive cards like Atom Smasher in particular more of an opportunity to be played, or just to be more powerful in a way. This change will obviously make aggro decks a little bit worse, because when you're playing aggro, you want to pummel your enemy as fast as possible, and the longer that they have to kind of get up and learn how to weave and learn your attack pattern and just how to counter it, obviously the worse it gets. So definitely worse for that type of strategy. Yeah, I mean, that's really just, it's not the biggest change to kind of understand or think through, but yeah, I mean, I like it. I like all the changes. I agree with the legends. I think making them only cost 1 is just better, because I don't know, 2 seemed fine, but 1 definitely makes it a lot more easier to kind of takes away a decision where, let's say you have a 4-cost thing in your hand, or a 3-cost thing in your hand, and you can only play the 4 because you only have 4 eddies, or it just in general makes it a lot easier to flip them. And I agree that I think legends are big and going to continue to be a big part of the game, and this definitely kind of helps perpetuate that and helps them show up in more games, make more of an impact for a lot less of kind of the general cost, or like they said, resource investment that you're going to be sinking into them. And then what else we can expect as we transition from alpha to beta. Those are all the big game and rule changes that they're making right now, but there will also be changes coming to individual card stats and effects, card keywords and templating, and small but important tweaks to the visual appearance of Cyberpunk TCG cards. I definitely expect Jackie to be nerfed. Probably going to be +1 power for each gig that you have, which is still going to make him a really good card. But he won't be out and away the best card in the game anymore. Definitely still strong, unless they pendulum swings way in the other direction, where it's +1 power for every 2 gigs. But I don't think they'll do that. I think it'll be 1 power for every gig that you have, because at most it's going to be +6, which, being a 12-power unit, is still very strong. But I mean, the change that makes the games go longer is also going to help him in general, because you're just going to have more gigs, or have more opportunities to have more gigs. So, and then they'll say that they'll also have more articles exploring the changes that they make in detail over the next couple of weeks. We'll also be updating all of our instructional content, including our main Learn to Play video. An updated version of our gameplay guide will also be live very soon. These updated rules are in effect starting today, and then, well, it's over now. If you were at the UK Games Expo this weekend, you'll be learning what the new rules. So yeah, that is pretty much it for that update. And as I said, I watched the Cyberdeck podcast, and I got a couple of notes on that they released, as well as this blog, kind of going over this and just what to look to in the future in general. So a little bit of notes for it is that they had the head of game design guest for it. So That's always pretty cool to see, or just even really hear, like, the head of game design's kind of thoughts about all the changes, why the changes were made, and just any general insights. So I would, as usual, recommend that you watch it, or at least listen to it, maybe if you're on the bus to work, or if you're driving to work, or walking home, getting groceries, anything really. They pretty much just went over the changes, went over the reasoning for it, and I mean, that was the bulk of it. But they also gave some kind of insights as to what we can expect for next week. And they said that the next episode they would visit rebalancing, and yeah, more changes probably going to be coming next Friday, because that's when they usually drop like an update on Kickstarter, and maybe it'll be a blog as well, so we'll see. They also pointed out that the legends being flipped cost reduction makes green stronger, because since they also have access to pretty much every card in the set, they said, or have noted rather, that a lot of them have like payoffs or could care about the amount of legends flipped, and specifically pointed out the Goro unit card that gets +1 power on your turn for every legend flipped, I believe it is. I could be wrong on the specific wording of it, but in general, yeah. And then they said that they would kind of speak next time about the legality of off-kit cards that they've already previewed, and just kind of release more details on that. But the biggest thing that they mentioned, and this was from Kawa, is that in a week or two, that they were going to be starting up the revamped official card reveal schedule. And this is a direct quote from him from the podcast, and it says that from the next week or two, cards are going to be flying at you from left, right, and center, all the way up until you receive your cards. So you can start expecting a lot more revealed cards, as mentioned, in the next week or two. So that is going to be really interesting and really fun. Definitely expect me to be covering them. I am going to try to get out the rest of the Color Power Ranking series videos before then, just so I can kind of get a grasp on all of it before, like all the balancing and all the new stuff. So they're all on like a bit of a level playing field, which is why I kind of waited until after like all the blog posts were out to really kind of go about that. So just a little bit of what to look forward to for the channel. And then obviously as more updates come out, I'll go over those as well. As more cards come out, I'll go over those as well. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make like a short about it, or maybe like a, I don't even know, maybe 3-minute video on like a card that's revealed. But yeah, definitely expect me to keep covering all this stuff. And then one thing that was also kind of revealed today was a Kickstarter update, and it's about the card that the community is making, and that we're voting for. The color has been determined to be red. It won out by hardly like 60 votes, I think it was. They, red and blue, had both the same percentage at 30, so it was very close. The next poll is about what type we would like the card to be, so that being legend, unit, gear, or program. Currently, legend is by and far the leading category. It at least the last time that I checked had 5,000 something votes, and the next best category was program with like about 1,000 votes. So definitely taking the early lead there, but until a card reaches, I think it was 25,393 votes, I think it was, or basically half of the Kickstarter backers +1, or rounded up rather, because it's non-number, until a card or a poll amount of votes reaches that, then it can still be changed. But yeah, I also made a post about that on Twitter as well, or X rather, as it is called now, as well as on the this update when it came out. Definitely being a lot more active about Cyberpunk on that. So I don't know, maybe check it out every day or two, however often you really want to, or can rather, or even just remember to. But yeah, I mean, this has been a lot more rambly, so pretty sleep deprived because of all the setting and testing, so definitely not the most clear and concise video, so I apologize for that. Speaking's been a little bit slurry as a result, so also apologize for that. But yeah, after this week, the semester of college is over, so I will have a lot more time to sink into videos and just general quality of the channel. I know my thumbnails aren't exactly looking too good. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure it out, but yeah, I'll have more time after Wednesday. Wednesday is like when my last final is, so have more time to make videos, and yeah, just, I mean, that's really the main thing right now, is trying to figure that out while still pumping out some videos every now and then. But yeah, that is really it. I would like to thank you guys for watching to the end, if you have, and listening through all of that nothingness, pretty much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, chums. Ciao.